Hello, Gen G. It's time for another healthy dose of reality from your elders. Sit back and listen. Shut up, take notes. I really do think that you should be taking notes, by the way, because I know from experience now how not to waste your 20s. You want to know how? Well, the first step is that you should come see my stand-up show. It's touring around the country. So the links are in the description below there. The second one is that you sign up to Jordan Shanks. Problem solved. End of the day. I think the next 8 minutes is just going to be me doing this around the screen. I'm just going to pretend that I'm a screensaver. Does this annoy you? Are you pissed off yet? I didn't say you're allowed to click off. And it started to annoy me, so it must have really pissed you off. This part, does that anger you? It angers... God! God! I just did a video on how not to be self-conscious. Oh, how embarrassing. Well, I'm kind of just proving it, haven't I? So, here's what you need to know. All of the things that you think are kitsch of being a 20-year-old, as in you have these limitless expansions that are just going around, and I'm playing fair. I'm going to find out which person loves me and which person I love, and I'm just going to keep searching, and then one day, magically, just like in Disney movies, I'm going to meet someone, and then sparks will fly, end of story. The only way that is the end is, honestly, if right after that, after your hormones are just at their absolute peak, your mate gets hit by a bus. That's the only way. Other than that, that is not how relationships work out over the long trajectory, even if they are successful. But that is beside the point. That is one element of what I'm talking about here, okay? I'm very multifaceted. That's why you should subscribe, because of how sophisticated this stuff is. You really won't get it. But look, you go into your 30s immediately. I am telling you, the day after you wake up from your massive hangover of, this is like my 21st, except for just a lot more civil and actually a lot more enjoyable now that I think about it. It's actually just a non-fucked 21st. That's your 30th, right? Then, after that, you wake up and then you realize, holy shit, this is what happens if you don't have a partner. You realize, holy fuck, I need to find one. And then very quickly it comes from like, are they the one? Is this the magical person for me? It goes very quickly. It moves away from that to, does this guy's dick still work? Like, can I pump a baby out from that? It starts becoming very practical because you haven't been putting in the foundations to find a partner and figure out if you are able of staying in a longer-term relationship in your 20s because you were just playing the field that whole time. You do not have the skills to be in a long-term relationship. And by that point, it's just a straight-up crapshoot. It's a straight-up crapshoot with anyone that comes your way, which will just become less and less and less. Because the good people, this is the other thing that starts to freak me out when I look around at my compatriots. The good ones are taken. So you're kind of left with the leftovers. That's the first harsh reality of getting into your 30s. The second harsh reality, all of this whimsical, I went over to England for a year and I worked in some bars there, and then I came back here and I worked in some bars there. Unless you're working to become one of those knobs that goes around being like, I made whiskey and I put my own face on it. Unless you're aiming to be one of those people. You know what most people in the professional world do when they look at your resume? They look at you in disbelief and think, you've got nothing here and you're in your 30s. By the time you're in your 30s, you should be at least middle management level, at least. And if you kind of just dicked around in your 20s and then you try and make something out of your life in your 30s, what a handicap. Especially because companies are always going to look at you and think, but I can hire this 22-year-old that isn't going to pop off and have kids in like 2 years. They're going to be here for a solid decade. I'm going to go with the 22-year-old that has the same amount of experience that you have. There are all these facets of your life that start to become very, very, very difficult to set, because this is how you need to think about your 20s and your 30s. I want you to write these down, okay? Your 20s is about getting on the path and forging it, and your 30s is about deciding, should I go down this path? Should I continue going down this path, or do I cut it? That's really what your 30s should be about. Your 30s should just be about veto. That's it. You just have president veto over your own life. In your 20s, what you are doing is you are looking for pathways. Now, as I've said before, there is always going to be this conflict between those in their 20s that did exactly what I didn't do, which is go out and party and, paint the town red. And by paint the town red, I mean drinking goon in a park a little bit longer than it stopped being cool, which is 19. And then, that's all right, I guess, when you're 22, 23. And then when you start to get to 27, it's just sad. And then when you get into your 30s, and then I still see that group of people that are still doing that stuff, it becomes really sad. And wouldn't you know, they haven't sorted out anything else in their life, because this is the thing that you need to understand. Once you start getting in the habit of making life decisions, the rest of your life starts to set. There is always going to be this feeling when you hit your 30s of, oh, I wish I did this path. Oh, why did I choose this one? I've made a mistake. No, the mistake was not getting on the path to begin with. That was the mistake. Now, let's just go back to this veto concept. By the time that you're in your 30s, what has happened? As I've said in a previous video, you should go check it out. You've had 10 years to accumulate skills, to accumulate it if you're in the right relationship, all of these things, your circle of friends, all of that stuff. You've had 10 years where you are no longer just this ambivalent leaf in the wind being like, I'm at school because my mum said I have to be. You've got 10 years of kind of just being an adult, and out of the nest, there you go. What have you done with your life? And then you go back and look at it and you realize, not much. Not much. If you are in that path, or in that area of I haven't done much, you're not going to start doing much in your 30s. It happens. It definitely happens. When I'm saying this, and there are 30-year-olds sitting there and saying like, so you're saying that my life is too late for me to get it together and stuff? No, it's not that it's too late. It's that you have missed out on those prime energy years of your 20s, where it is socially acceptable for you to fuck up and just, do whatever you want and make mistakes, and there's nothing really holding you down. And even by nothing really holding you down, even if you don't have kids, even if you don't have a spouse, all of that stuff, we're just talking about your levels of energy. The body, the human body in your 20s, let's just think about it it's just this blast furnace. You chuck chocolate in there, yeah, let's go. Everything's let's go to you kids. You chuck in, what's something else? Logs filled with vape juice. I don't know what you kids eat. So you eat vape juice logs, and that's your diet, I assume, because I'm pretty sure that biologically you're a beaver and then you turn into a human being at 30, okay? That's my understanding of biology. And anything like that, you're fine. You're good to go. You can party all night. You can wake up the next day. When you're in your 30s, you have to think of your body sort of like it's a campfire that you have to just keep putting in logs. Like, you can still maintain those levels of energy that you had when you were in your 20s. You absolutely can. There are 70-year-olds that can do that. But you have to start being very calculated about it. This is what I'm talking about. Everything in your 30s has to become more purposeful. And if you haven't been exercising that muscle of like getting onto a path in your 20s, because this is the whole thing. When you're sitting there saying like, oh, all of these paths in life, the world's my oyster. I'm telling you right now, when you hit 30, the rest of society looks at you and thinks, man, child, that is sad. You did not find a path when you were in your 20s. The difference is, and this is the great thing about it, right? Now that we're talking about this veto power when you're in your 30s, when you look at that and you think, is this the right path to go on? No, I'm going to go on this path. This is what happens. When people say, and this is always what 20-year-olds will say, they'll say, like, I feel like I'm just in an ocean and I could go in any direction I like, and that's what's really difficult. Yes, that is really difficult. And you know why? Because that's what choice does. It debilitates human beings, because you sit there and you think, oh, but this peanut butter says that it's got 10% less fat than this peanut butter. Just take one peanut butter and go home. It's not going to kill you. That's what I'm talking about when you get onto the path. Doesn't matter what path it is. I don't care what path it is. I just care about you getting on it, because when you are on it, you are going to start realizing very quickly, these are the things that I don't like about this path. And this is very annoying about the human brain, I know, but the human brain always just focuses on, this is what I don't want, as opposed to what it does want. And so even if you get on a path and you hate it, At least you figure out about that job, about that relationship. These are the things that I definitely don't want in my next relationship. Now, I think that obviously the smarter thing to do is to just sit down there and write your goals and say, these are the things that I want in my life. But if you are one of these people that's like, I don't know what it was, blah, 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 I don't know. Just choose something. I don't care what it is. Because I have friends that are in their 30s and now they want to become, say, I'm thinking of one person in particular actually, wants to become a musician. Yeah? I have other friends that also want to become musicians. My other friends lived the life of the grasshopper throughout their entire 20s because it was just summertime, yay. And then they come to their 30s and what do they have to show for it? No skill qualifications, no permanent relationships. They've got a lot of sex, they've got a lot of fun, kooky adventures, but they have nothing of a foundation to build off to move into the next thing. Now, who do you think is in a better position? The guy that's settled down, think about this, he has kids, he has a wife, he has investment properties. But if he really wants to, he can sit there and he can say, I'm selling my investment properties and I'm going to move into this and I'm going to actually pursue music. Completely different to what he did. However, what did he get from being on the path? Extreme discipline. He got houses out of it. He also got the incentive of, if this doesn't work, my kids are going to starve. Who has more of a chance of succeeding in their 30s? The guy that got on the path that he decided was wrong, or the guy that didn't get on the path to begin with? You make up your mind. You want to decide which path is right for you. You want to maximize all of your options in life. You want to live, truly live. There's only one answer. You have to sign up to Jordan Shanks. I like that product. It's got my name on it. And it is just a lot of these insights being pelted into your mind. God, I wish I had that at 20. If I had somebody that just said, give me $2 a week and I will give you the way to get whatever you want out of life. Guaranteed. It's happened to so many people now. There are so many people that listen to Jordan Shanks. They tell me that they're millionaires because of Jordan Shanks. So you sign up to Jordan Shanks if you want the primo insights. The cream of the crop, the result of 10 years of study, more than 10 years at this point. I think it'll probably be up to like 12 years. 12 years of endlessly reading these insights. I'm going to drill them into your head and I'm going to save you 12 years. Just like I have then. So you owe me regardless alike, at the very least.